Meine Damen und Herren, bitte Vorsicht auf Gleis 7.
The German railway has more than 200,000 employees and we're responsible for its program.
The railway is its own world. Bahn TV is television on rails. Bahn TV has everything you need to know about the company, about transportation and environmental politics.
The railway serves 4.6 million customers every day. We have the information you need.
The most beautiful areas of Germany, major European cities, will show you how you can arrive at your destination comfortably and affordably. Bahn TV, reporting on research and technology for millions of rail fans. High-speed travel, tilting technology and logistics, new ideas and the infrastructure of the future.
For 170 years, the railway has touched all levels of society and all ages. We have the pictures.
The railway and its future, the train station as the center of cities, pictures that show how the world has become mobile.
Rail TV has been reaching 4.7 million people daily since 2001 via satellite and cable.
We provide information about fitness and health for the workplace, at home or on trips.
Tune in. We broadcast for you around the clock, 24 hours a day.
Bitte steigen Sie ein. Vorsicht an den Türen und bei der Abfahrt des Zuges.
Hamburg, gateway to the world. The second largest city in Germany is the media and culture center of the north and a significant economic force with an international harbor. The Hamburg main train station is in the center of the city. It was built on an area formerly occupied by the city wall and will celebrate its 100th anniversary at the end of 2006. Fast train connections can take soccer fans to all World Cup venues in Germany in a very short time. The trip to Berlin, for example, lasts only 90 minutes. With 400,000 travelers and visitors a day, Hamburg has one of the largest passenger train stations in Germany. More than 600 long and short-distance trains and about 1,000 city trains pass through the largest communications point in northern Germany. If you are hungry for a snack or you'd like to do some shopping, there's an attractive selection of modern stores right here. City rail from the Hamburg main station to the FIFA World Cup Stadium is fast and comfortable. City rail lines 1, 3 and 21 take you directly to game locations in Ottmarschen and Stellingen-Eidelstedt. The stations have just recently been renovated from the ground up. It's no problem getting to the train in a wheelchair. Modern new elevators take passengers directly to the train platform. Buses take passengers from the city rail stop directly to the stadium. The recently built Hamburg Stadium celebrated its first match on September 2, 2000 with an international match between the German national team and Greece. The UEFA added the site of that match to the list of 5-star stadiums, confirming the Hamburg Arena is truly one of Europe's extraordinary stadiums. Exactly 56,114 soccer fans can thrill to their team here. The facility is operated by HSV, the Hamburg Sports Club. The club has created its own museum in the stadium over an area of 600 square meters. Many previously unknown details recount HSV's success story. The Hamburg team has been national champions in Germany numerous times and they place in the top-level German Bundesliga from day one, an unparalleled achievement. Back to the main train station, an ideal starting point for a discover trip through the city. Straight across from you is the famous Hamburger Kunsthalle, the art center. The dome, dating from the 19th century, combines art from the Middle Ages to the present. The star of the collection is Caspar David Friedrich. His landscapes, here the Sea of Ice, are the high point of German romantic painting. Take a stroll from the main train station through the famous shopping streets of Hamburg, Spitaler and Mönckeberg. Mühe, as it's called in Hamburg, is commercial pride compacted into stone. There's a little of everything here, not just for big spenders, but for modest budgets too. As you come to the end of the street, you are directly in front of City Hall. More than 100,000 visitors come here every year from all over the world, and for good reason. Hamburg City Hall is one of the most impressive parliament and government buildings in Germany. The City Assembly and Senate have met here for more than 100 years. The history of Hamburg is told in pictures and coats of arms. You can take a virtual stroll through some magnificent rooms or follow a guided tour of the building on foot. Directly across from City Hall are the classical Alster arcades, constructed after the Great Fire of 1842. Experience the pure relaxation of the charming cafes overlooking the Little Alster. The Alster River has formed a water landscape in the heart of Hamburg. The best living accommodations are along the river. Climb aboard one of the Alster steamboats and experience Hamburg from its most attractive side. You can also go from the city center directly to the harbor on foot or by elevated rail. It is one of the top transshipment points in Europe and one of the most important container harbors in the world. From here, ships travel to more than 800 harbors all around the world. Hamburg's harbor is booming. With more than 100 million tons of goods transferred per year, it is a job factory for the city. About 145,000 people live from or with their harbor. It's also the site of the 100-year-old Speicherstadt, the largest contiguous warehouse complex in the world. Behind thick late 19th century brick walls in the Gothic style of Kaiser Wilhelm II, warehouses store valuable commodities such as coffee and tea, and now also computers. Hamburg is the largest storage site for Oriental rugs in the world. Friends of miniature rail will also find what they're looking for here. Germany's largest model railway, a miniature wonderland, has found a home here in the Speicherstadt. From southern Germany through Hamburg and on to America, lavishly designed landscapes, cities and points of interest like Hamburg's St. Michael's Church await visitors. Measuring 132 meters high, the tower of St. Michael's Church, Michel in local parlance, is the symbol of this Hansa city. It's worth the effort of climbing the 453 steps to the top. You'll be rewarded with this panorama view of Hamburg and the harbor. It's not far from Michel on city rail to the famous red light district of Hamburg, the Reeperbahn. The heart of the harbor city beats here. The culture scene has long since discovered Kiez Hamburg's entertainment section. When the curtain rises at Tivoli, the show begins in one of the city's finest theater halls. A play called Heiße Ecke, the hotspot, which takes aim at everyday life in Hamburg's entertainment district, is now running. Everyone can be happy in their own way and party till the morning light. For the morning after, how about a visit to the traditional St. Pauli fish market? Especially popular among bargain hunters, tourists and early risers, brunch in the historic fish auction hall. It's just a few steps from the St. Pauli district to Heiliggeistfeld, a large square where soccer fans can watch all the games live during the World Cup on a giant screen. And before you climb aboard the train again in the main train station, you should pay a visit to one more attraction, the famous Hamburg Theater House, just across from the train station. The theater was started in the 1950s under the direction of the legendary Gustav Gründgens. There are seats for 1,831 here, making it one of the largest theaters in Germany. You can travel conveniently onto your next destination from Hamburg's main station. Have a pleasant trip. Berlin, the capital of Germany and a cultural metropolis with a vibrant past. Modern architecture and historic sites define the image of the city. Nefertiti, the most beautiful Berliner, is as much a part of that image today as the recently completed Potsdamer Platz. Since German reunification in 1989, Berlin's profile has been steadily expanding. Today, the city is one of the most animated and exciting major cities in Europe. It's hard to reduce this exuberant capital city to any one definition, for Berlin is many cities. In the middle of Berlin, just next to the government district, an extraordinary train station, an architectonic and logistic highlight, is taking shape. When it opens at the end of May 2006, this station expects 300,000 travelers and visitors daily. 1,200 trains will then leave Europe's largest and most modern train station daily at 90 seconds intervals for every conceivable destination. The station also offers a first-class shopping experience covering 15,000 square meters, not to mention a wide range of gastronomical and other services. From the Berlin main train station you can go directly to the arena with city rail lines S75 and S9 in the direction of Spandau to the stop for the Olympic Stadium. Trains arrive every 10 minutes and even more frequently for major events. The travel time is 20 minutes. Renovation of the legendary Berlin Olympic Stadium began in the summer of 2000. The goal was to make the buildings, which are under monument protection, comfortable and functional. Soccer fans can already attest to the success of the renovation. About 66,000 seats are available. Starting from the main train station, the most important sights to see can easily be reached on foot or on a bike from Kohl a Bike. Here, for example, is the Brandenburger Tor, the Brandenburg Gate, symbol of Berlin, with the victory column, the Siegessäule, in the background. Just next to it is the Reichstag, the headquarters of German Parliament, and with its modern glass dome, a favorite perch for sightseeing. Within sight of the Reichstag is the Kanzleramt or Chancellery. Close by, games will be broadcast on a giant screen during the World Cup for public viewing. From the government district, the magnificent boulevard Unter den Linden leads to the Castle Bridge, or Schlossbrücke as the Berliners call it. It was designed in the early 19th century by Karl Friedrich Schinkel, the famous Prussian architect. In a natural view from here is the Berlin Cathedral, which was dedicated in 1905 and has been used for Lutheran worship services ever since. The Hohenzollern family is also buried here. On the other side is the Old Museum. Until 2009 it will house the Egyptian collection, including its highlight, the Egyptian queen Nefertiti, whose mysterious beauty has attracted visitors from the entire world. The Old Museum is between the River Spree and the Kupfergraben on famous Museum Island. The buildings here are a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site. They are the cultural legacy of the 19th century, the time of reason and a middle class thirsty for knowledge. They display 19th century art and imposing archaeological collections. You can get to Alexanderplatz quickly on foot or by public transportation. Dominated by a 365-meter TV tower, this square was and still is the center of city life of the former East Berlin. The best view of the city is from here. If you're interested in the history of Berlin, you should visit Checkpoint Charlie. This former border crossing is situated on elegant Friedrichstraße. For decades, it marked the end of freedom and the separation between East and West. Dramatic escape scenes unfolded here. The house at Checkpoint Charlie was opened on June 14, 1963. The private operators of the museum received some of their most interesting exhibits from former escapees and their helpers. You can also see the notorious automatic firing systems from the former border area. The German Museum of Technology has been steadily building its collection since 1982. It lies directly on the Landwehrkanal at the former Anhalt freight train station. When it is fully developed, it will house one of the largest museums of technology in the world. Berlin is perfect for cyclists. The affordable Kohl a Bikes of German Railway can be picked up at every corner. If you have enough time, it's nice to enjoy the sunset on a bank of the Spree in Kreuzberg. Restaurants, beach bars and dance clubs combined to create a samba feeling in the middle of the city. If you would rather transport yourself to the beginnings of the 20th century, visit Friedrichstadtpalast. The tradition of the Golden Twenties is still in the air there, recalling a time when Berlin and Vienna were the European centers of variété. The futuristic architecture of the new Potsdamer Platz is striking. The mixture of movies, theater, restaurants and stores make it a popular attraction for photo enthusiasts. Close to Potsdamer Platz is the Gendarmenmarkt. From this square you can start your tour of Berlin at night in style. Two highlights next to each other are Newton Bar and Luther and Wegner, a former court purveyor to the House of Prussia and Berlin's most famous wine cellar. Another worthwhile destination is Old West-Berlin with the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church and the Kaufhaus des Westens, KaDeWe for short in German. KaDeWe was opened in 1907. Boasting more than 60,000 square meters of sales area today, it is the largest department store in Europe. The delicacies department with specialties from around the world is legendary. On the way back to the Berlin main train station, we passed the Victory Column, affectionately called Goldelse locally. When it's time to continue on your way by train, you're sure to agree with this motto of the metropolis: Berlin is worth a trip. Hanover, city of trade shows and cultural metropolis of Lower Saxony. This is the land of the Welfens, Europe's oldest royal house. Old brick Gothic, modern art, and one of the most beautiful Baroque gardens in Europe make Hanover an attractive travel destination. The main train station is one of the most important connecting points in Germany, with ICE connections to Hamburg, Berlin, Bremen, Dortmund, Cologne, Frankfurt, Munich, Vienna and Zurich. Almost 250,000 passengers pass through every day. Hanover is proud of its attractive station, which has become the new center of the city. The receiving area was renovated and modernized until the year 2000. The new mall passageways are open for shopping and enjoyment almost 24 hours a day, from 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. If you are visiting Hanover, you won't need a car. Commuter rail, city rail and buses will take you quickly and comfortably where you want to go. 5 commuter rail lines connect Hanover with surrounding areas. From the main train station, you can reach the World Cup Stadium in just a few minutes with commuter rail lines 1, 2 and 5. From the Hannover-Linden-Fischerhof stop, it's just a few steps by foot. The World Cup Stadium in Hanover, home to Hannover 96, seats about 40,000. The earlier facility, the Lower Saxony Stadium, has been in service since the 1950s. Now it has been renovated as an extra site for World Cup soccer. Waterloo Square, directly in front of the stadium. If you couldn't spring for tickets, you can watch the game here on a giant screen with about 20,000 others who had the same idea. Local residents and sport clubs invite visitors to join in between Waterloo Square and the main station. Back to the main train station. Visitors have easy access to Hanover's shopping mile from here. When you've sorted through department stores and exclusive shops, you can relax at the Kröpke Clock, a favorite meeting place in Hanover and the starting point for a tour through the romantic Old City. Half-timber houses go back to the 16th century. Hanover was originally a small village settlement. Otto the Child, a duke of the Welfen royal house, granted rights as a city in 1241. Where river fishermen and ferrymen once lived, historic inns and upscale pubs now stand side by side. The Bräuhahnhaus is a medieval tavern that serves traditionally brewed beer and typical regional specialties like grilled suckling pig. The state capital of Lower Saxony has also made a name for itself culturally. The Hanover State Opera is one of the great opera houses of Germany. It has enjoyed an excellent reputation in recent years, also internationally. Destroyed down to its very foundations during the war, the building was rebuilt afterwards and reopened in 1950 with Richard Strauss' Rosenkavalier. Searching new directions in old routes is reflected today not only in the architecture of local houses, but also in the stage program. The new City Hall, as it is called, gives the effect of a relic from former times when Hanover was still a kingdom. Actually, the building was not dedicated until June 1913. "All paid in cash, Your Majesty," announced the proud city director of the time to Kaiser Wilhelm II, who had come to the dedication personally. The city spent more than 10 million marks at the time to complete the splendid architectural project. Mush Lake, in the middle of the city, Hanover's Blue Eye, was created artificially in 1934. Today it offers any number of possibilities to water sports enthusiasts. It's a place to relax from everyday stress in Hanover. The famous Sculpture Mile makes its way through the city center with the nanas of Niki de Saint-Phal. The French artist who died in 2002 was Hanover's first and only honorary citizen. Niki de Saint-Phal transformed the historic grotto into a magical work of art. Constructed in 1767 and originally decorated with mussels and crystals, the building is now open again for visits to the Herrenhauser Gardens. Unchanged for almost 300 years, they are among the largest and most beautiful Baroque gardens in Germany. In the Georgian Gardens stands Walmoden Castle, where the Museum for Caricature and Satirical Graphics is located. Hanover is especially proud of Wilhelm Busch. The museum displays some of the most important works of the popular 19th century humorist, classically illustrated stories that have lost nothing in their humor even today. Hanover's city center is also abuzz with activity at night. If you enjoy a superb beer, you should visit the Ernst August Brewery. Drawing on Hanover's ancient brewing traditions, beer is brewed in-house here. It has become one of the most successful pub breweries of Germany. Back at the train station, it's goodbye Hanover, as the train speeds on to the next game. Gelsenkirchen, a city numbering 280,000 inhabitants in the heart of the Ruhr area. Energy is a matter of prime concern here. Until well into the 20th century, everything in Gelsenkirchen revolved around coal. Today, the city is turning to solar energy and has developed into a trans-regional business and research center. Where coal was in demand earlier, cultural life plays a major role today. Theatre and music stand out against an imposing industrial backdrop, but most important for the Gelsenkircheners is their soccer club, Schalke 04. The main train station in Gelsenkirchen. 288 trains stop here daily. About 15,000 passengers take advantage of the excellent connections. In just a short time, fans traveling on the ICE or commuter rail can be in World Cup cities Dortmund, Cologne and Frankfurt. The station is being renovated from the ground up for the World Cup. The route to the stadium is extremely short. Local public transit will take you from the main train station directly to the arena in just 15 minutes. If you have tickets to get into World Cup matches, you already have a ticket for your way there. Tickets to the game are accepted by City Transit. Most people here refer to the FIFA World Cup Stadium as Auf Schalke, a 5-star stadium. High-tech features like movable lawns or a roof that closes make Auf Schalke one of the most modern stadiums in Europe and a model for new stadium design. Just next to it is Glückauf Stadium, where youth teams and Schalke amateurs are now practicing. FIFA FanFest will offer public viewing of World Cup matches. 5 minutes from the arena by car, Alaska and Africa meet, polar bears and lions. The Gelsenkirchen Ruhr Zoo, rich in traditions, is being completely transformed. Visitors, large and small, can experience landscapes and animals from all continents on the 15-acre site. If you are traveling to Gelsenkirchen from the north, you'll see this castle dating from the 13th century. The Wasserburg Castle in Lüttinghof is the city's oldest architectural monument. Berge Castle is located in an enclosed park. The restaurant offers refined service for guests in an extraordinary ambience, featuring international cuisine with fresh seasonal products. The castle gardens and Berge Lake form a green oasis cast against an industrial landscape. Coal, steel and smoke flues are long since history. Hardly any region in Central Europe has seen so much change in the last few decades as the Ruhr district. The coal mines are closed and the blast furnaces are extinguished. But the local fans' enthusiasm for soccer has remained constant through all the changes, as you can see from these garden dwarfs. Everywhere in the city are mute reminders of the coal mining era. Gelsenkirchen is mentioned in archives as early as 1150, but the city is actually a product of 19th century industrialization. Coal miner settlements like Schüngelberg have been carefully renovated, and today they attract many visitors. This is also the site of the small museum, which intimately recorded the history of the Hugo colliery and its miners. Of course, Schalke 04 is part of it. Generations of men and women spent their lives in the mines and in the settlement. This collection documents their work underground and their daily lives. The former Nordstern colliery is now a natural park. When it was shut down in 1993, it had been in operation for 130 years. The grounds were renovated for the German Garden Show in 1997. Today it's a local destination for relaxation in Dortmund that also hosts special events. At the north edge of the park there is a must-see for model train enthusiasts. There, on 700 square meters in an industrial building, you can admire the Deutschland Express with more than 500 Märklin trains. You'll experience a trip through perfectly recreated landscapes from the Swiss Alps to the North Sea. The legendary Trans-Europa Express is also making its rounds here. Would you like to look into the future? Visit the Science Park. Here you'll learn how Gelsenkirchen is making the transition from mining and steel to solar energy and future technology. The goal is clear: to protect the environment and provide reliable jobs in the future in Gelsenkirchen. And of course everyone agrees soccer will be part of that future. The biggest fan club is located in, yes, you guessed it, the Schalke district. There is no question about it. Soccer rules in Gelsenkirchen. The Schalke 04 fan club is known internationally for its traditions and great success. It's the city's most important way of being known to the rest of the world. It goes without saying that Schalke fans will receive guests in a manner befitting a world championship. Dortmund is the city to experience in the Ruhr area. The former Hansa city is considered the marketplace and cultural center of the entire region. Steel, coal and beer have shaped Dortmund's history. 4 churches, various theaters, museums and opera houses are as much a part of Dortmund as the culture of industry, which has left visible traces behind. Soccer is a way of life for Dortmunders, and nothing means more to fans here than the local team Borussia. The main train station will be converted in the near future into the Three-Dow Leisure and Cultural Center. 1100 city and long-distance trains stop here daily for the 125,000 visitors who stream through day in and day out. New signage is being installed in the station for the FIFA World Cup. You can take a direct train from the main train station to the stadium and you'll be there in just 5 minutes. The Westfalia Hall stop is being fitted with newer, wider platforms and handicapped-accessible access for the 2006 FIFA World Cup. The 862-meter-high yellow pylons point the way to the arena. The stadium was built back in 1974 for that year's World Cup. It's now being modernized for this year's championship. With more than 1 million guests per season, Dortmund holds the record in the German Bundesliga for visitors. Up to 83,000 fans can cheer on their team here. You can also go back into the city on foot. It takes about 35 minutes. The 4 city churches are a must-see. St. Peter's contains one of the most impressive works of art in Europe, the Golden Wonder of Dortmund, depicting the Passion of Christ in 30 reliefs with 633 oak-carved gilded figures. Just around the corner is St. Reinhold's Church with its imposing bell tower, the symbol of the city. The center of the Old City is the Old Market, with the highest concentration of restaurants and beer gardens in Dortmund. A typical local specialty is beef stew with onions, the traditional Pfefferpothast. Those who prefer lighter fare will also find food for their liking here. Long neglected, Brückstraße has recently become a modern upscale shopping street. The whole quarter has put on a new face. This is the Dortmund Concert Hall. Even before it opened in 2002, it belonged to the International Society of the Performing Arts, an important distinction for the Brückstraße district and the new home of the Philharmonic Orchestra. The city is inviting the public to view matches here at Friedensplatz. A 60-meter square screen will stretch between the old city hall and the new one. The Ruhr Valley, called the Ruhrpott locally, owes its name to the mix of coal and steel. Colliers and blast furnaces as symbols of German industrial history have shaped this area and its people. One of the best examples of 19th century industrial architecture is the former Zollern coal mine. The colliery was already a much visited model facility in the time of the Kaisers. From the original light bulb to the clock, everything is preserved as it was. The machine halls with the large steel frame windows were the first industrial facilities to be placed under monument protection during the 1970s. The unusual architecture of the Dortmund Theatre, dating from the 60s, has also drawn admirers. The theatre is acclaimed well beyond the local area with contemporary and experimental productions. If you want to see games in other World Cup cities, fast and convenient rail connections are available to all other locations participating in World Cup soccer in Germany. Proud Leipzig in Saxony is known as the Citizen City. Since the late Middle Ages, it has been one of Germany's most important market fair cities. More than 500 years ago, Leipzig became a center of European culture through book trade and printing. Learning and science have always played a great role here. Leibniz, Goethe, Schiller and Bach made it their intellectual home. Tradition and progress are reflected in the architecture of the historic Old City. Leipzig main station is one of the largest and most beautiful in Germany. It will celebrate its 90th birthday in December 2006. About 1,000 local and long-distance trains stop at this station daily. Leipzig passed its general test for the 2006 FIFA World Cup in July 2005, when more than 100,000 spectators attended the Confederations Cup. Employees of the German Railway offering information at special welcome desks are on hand to help visitors learning everything they need to know for the World Cup, in many languages of course. You can shop to your heart's desire in Leipzig right here in the main train station. 10 years ago, the Leipzig promenades opened with more than 130 stores and restaurants. The way to the stadium in Leipzig is extremely short and very easy to combine with a train trip. The streetcar leaves directly in front of the main train station and takes only 8 minutes to arrive at the arena. The new soccer arena on Elsterflutbecken opened in early 2004. During the time of the German Democratic Republic, all important tournaments and sports festivals were held here. Today only soccer is played before up to 45,000 spectators. Augustus Square, situated between the colorful backdrop of the Leipzig Opera and the famous Gewandhaus Concert Hall. On the largest inner city square in Europe, fans can follow all the World Cup games here on a giant screen. The world-famous Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchestra has played for more than 250 years as the symbol of the highest artistic quality. It's the oldest private orchestra in Europe. From Augustus Square, it's just a hop, skip and a jump to the pedestrian zone in the city center. Just a few minutes by foot and you come to the Nikolai Church. It was here that the peaceful revolution began in the German Democratic Republic, which opened the way for German reunification in 1990. Experience Leipzig city center, a true pedestrian paradise. Just around the corner, you'll want to visit City Hall, one of the most beautiful Renaissance buildings in Germany. The City of the Arts is also known as the City of Johann Sebastian Bach, due to Bach's work there as cantor of St. Thomas and music director of the city. In the middle of the 18th century, he led the St. Thomas Church Choir, still famous throughout the world today. Afterwards, you can take a walk through the picturesque streets of Leipzig. This gives you some idea why the city was also called Little Paris in the 18th century. You can also visit the oldest coffee house in Germany here. The Coffee Baum serves more than 13 different types of coffee. Visit the permanent exhibit upstairs, where you'll gain interesting insights into the history and preparation methods for Germany's favorite way to wake up. As the initiators of the so-called Peaceful Revolution in 1989, the citizens of Leipzig work intensively at a critical reappraisal of the East Germany period. Inside rooms of the former regional administration, left in their original state, a public association is providing support for an exhibit about the notorious former East German secret police. The exhibition is called Stasi, Power and Banality. Visitors here learn much about the organization and history of the Ministry for State Security and how it operated. The goal is to sharpen people's awareness of the dangers of dictatorship and to promote democratic ways of thinking and acting. We continue on by streetcar to the largest monument in Europe, the Völkerschlachtdenkmal. It was constructed between 1897 and 1913 by commission of the German Patriot Organization. German Kaiser Wilhelm II dedicated it on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Nations, as Germans call it. It marked the end of Napoleon's domination over Europe in October 1813. Germany's most famous poet spent his student years in Leipzig. From 1765 until 1768, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe attended the poetry lectures of Christian Fürchtegott Gellert and participated in his style exercises. In the city center ring is the famous Mädler Passage. It was constructed at the beginning of the 20th century based on the model of the elegant Galleria Vittorio Emanuele in Milan. This is Leipzig's best known and most expensive shopping area. This is the site of the famous Auerbach-Keller restaurant. The historic tavern with beer on tap, known from Goethe's drama Faust, is one of the oldest taverns in Leipzig. If you like to go out, you can't miss the Drallewatsch. The name is an old Saxon term that means something like going to the shindig. And that's not hard at all in the heart of Leipzig, where pubs are next door to each other. You can get back to the main train station quickly on foot. Even though some people have a hard time saying goodbye, there are still many more interesting World Cup cities to visit with the German railway. Cologne is one of the oldest of Germany's major cities. More than 2,000 years of history have left their traces here. The cathedral is not the only proof of that statement. Come on a trip through time and visit Cologne's numerous attractions, stretching from Roman times to our own. Cologne is a city of contrasts. Honored seats of ecclesiastical power, yet also the city of fools and dandies. Everyone feels at home here. The center of the Rhineland's way of life is open and uncomplicated. It's just Cologne. The Cologne main train station is just next to the cathedral. With its modern restored steel and glass construction, it is one of the most popular train stations in Germany, according to passenger surveys. The high-speed train section between Cologne and Frankfurt, designed for speeds up to 300 km per hour, take you quickly from one city to the other. About 1,100 local and long-distance trains stop here daily. The Cologne main train station offers more than 70 stores where passengers can spend a quiet moment in gourmet restaurants or exclusive boutiques. The railway is offering quick connections to the Cologne soccer stadium just in time for the FIFA World Cup. City Rail Line 1 has been extended, shortening the trip to the World Cup site. Lucky holders of World Cup tickets already have tickets for the train in their pockets. Game tickets double as travel tickets on local trains. From the main train station, take the City Rail to the Köln-Weiden West stop. The stop was specially constructed for the FIFA World Cup. Transfer there to City Rail Line 1 in the direction of Bensbergbrück and continue to the stadium. The new stadium is late immense for the soccer-mad city. The fourth largest German city came away empty-handed during the 1974 World Cup. With the construction of the new soccer stadium, which holds about 46,000 fans, Cologne has risen above the competition from neighboring areas. Located in the center of the city, the main train station is an ideal starting point for a tour of the city. The best-known attraction of the Rhine metropolis is without a doubt the cathedral, a symbol of the city, a UNESCO World Heritage since 1996 and one of the most famous attractions in Germany. Soccer has even left its mark on Cologne's famous church. At a height of 45 meters is a relief dating to 1966 and depicting two soccer players. Behind the cathedral is the famous Ludwig Museum with its collection of contemporary art. The paintings document the most important stages of modern art. The Roman Germanic Museum is especially proud of the Roman mosaic with scenes from the world of Dionysus around 220 AD. It's next to the Ludwig Museum on Roncalli-Platz in close proximity to the cathedral. World Cup matches will be broadcast live here on giant screens. Back to the train station. If you'd rather travel around the city by bicycle, you're in luck. Rent a bike from Call a Bike and away you go. If you're not in a hurry to get started, just spend some time on the square between the main train station and the cathedral. People from Cologne meet here to relax, take a break or do some shopping. As a shopping city, Cologne is known far beyond the limits of the city or even Germany. You'll find all the major department stores and famous brands on shopping streets here. The large shopping streets lead directly to the Heumarkt, the Haymarket, where World Cup games will be broadcast for the public. This will also be the site of the big World Cup party. Enjoy a stroll through the brewery section in the evening. Famous Cologne breweries and upscale pubs will send no traveler home hungry, much less thirsty. The Cologne Chocolate Museum is located directly on the Rhine riverbank. Where ships once lay at anchor and cargoes were unloaded, you can now enjoy some exquisite chocolate. And soccer fever has even spread here. In the adjacent museum, visitors can learn everything about the mysteries of this 3,000-year-old natural product. Just next door is the German Sports and Olympic Museum. It's located in a former 19th century customs house in the Cologne-Rheinau harbor. Visitors can immerse themselves in the fascinating world of sports on the roughly 2,000 square meters of exhibit and activity areas. If you'd like some fun afterwards, the old city of Cologne is just the thing. Brewing beer has been considered a craft in the Rhineland since the 9th century. There are references to it in a legal document of Charlemagne, who lived at the time. The first brewer in Cologne probably lived in the middle of the 13th century on one of the streets where you can still enjoy yourself in the Rhinish way with a glass of good beer in your hand. The Cologne Cathedral at sunset is a real highlight. Be sure you don't miss it before it's time to say goodbye Cologne or tschö Gölle. Till next time. For over 1,000 years, Frankfurt am Main has been one of the most important cities in Germany. Contrasts define the World Cup city in the heart of Europe: tradition and innovation, commerce and culture, business bustle and tranquility. The rich history and economic dynamism of the city are reflected in the architecture. And not least, Frankfurt's favorable location as a communications hub makes it a world city. The Frankfurt main train station is the center of the transportation network for the Rhine-Main area. It connects Germany with Europe and the region. 280,000 travelers and 70,000 visitors use the train station daily. 9,000 square meters provide ample space for numerous shopping options and cuisine choices. The train station team got a chance to show what it could do during the 2005 Confederations Cup. They will also be at the welcome desk in 2006 to help fans with all their needs. The spaciously dimensioned train station is ideal for strolling and passing the time. The German railway lounges are ideal for relaxing while you wait. You can take CityRail to the arena directly from the main train station. Lines S7, S8 or S9 will have you at the soccer stadium in just 6 minutes. From there you can reach the FIFA Frankfurt Stadium on foot in just 5 minutes. The Frankfurt FIFA World Cup Stadium is an ultra-modern arena. About 43,000 spectators can watch World Cup games here. Frankfurters are especially proud of their innovative tent roof that converts the stadium into a breezy convertible in just a few minutes. If you'd like to start your tour from the main train station, you'll step straight into dynamic Frankfurt. But even with this unique high-rise backdrop, city bustle is not all this banking metropolis has to offer. In many places, visitors can discover an oasis of peace and contentment. One example is the Alte Oper, the Old Opera. In addition to a concert hall, the late classical building is also home to a cafe and a restaurant. A visit in one of the most beautiful restaurants in Frankfurt is a culinary experience. Once a week, the restaurant offers a large buffet, the Saturday snack, for €14, an affordable pleasure for everyone. Although you wouldn't guess from the name, besides chamber concerts, jazz, rock and pop concerts are also held at the Old Opera. If you want a quick lunch, continue on a few meters to the famous Fressgasse, a culinary street unique in Germany. You can continue your shopping in top design stores just across on Goethestraße. Shoppers with limited budgets will still enjoy window shopping in exclusively decorated stores. The Hauptwache was and is the center of the city on the Main. Constructed in 1729 as a military station, the building was converted into a café at the beginning of the 20th century. The old Hauptwache and Frankfurt of the 18th century were very familiar to the city's most famous son. Johann Wolfgang Goethe was born in Frankfurt on August 28, 1749, just as the clock struck 12. He grew up here with his sister Cornelia. Today, the house of his childhood and youth is a museum. The Goethe house shows art from his era, manuscripts, and his father's impressive library. The pride of the house is the astronomical clock, designed by a friend of the Goethe family. And, of course, the original puppet theatre, where the young Goethe staged his first dramas. As early as the 16th century, the Römerberg had the reputation of being the most beautiful place in the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. It has been the stage of important events ever since the Middle Ages. A large public festival took place at the site during imperial coronations, while the new Kaiser sat at a banquet on the Römerberg. After the entire area was reduced to ash and rubble during the Second World War, it was faithfully restored to its original state. St. Paul's Church, the famous Paulskirche in German, is the national symbol of freedom and democracy. The first freely elected National Assembly in Germany met here on May 18, 1848. You can also discover an old piece of Frankfurt in the Sachsenhausen district. The Losbachtal restaurant features apple wine in an authentic atmosphere served from the original blue pitcher or bembel, a hand-painted earthenware jug, or the typically ribbed glass. Authentic local food is served here on long tables, green sauce with eggs, potatoes and sour-boiled rump, or ribs with sauerkraut. The largest open-air parties of the World Cup are also being held close to Sachsenhausen. About 15,000 fans will be able to watch the games during the Soccer World Cup for free on a giant video screen floating on the Main. Standing places and a grandstand with seats will be set up on both sides of the river promenade. A skyline illumination is held at the beginning of June. In the evening, pictures of soccer stars and light shows are projected onto 11 skyscrapers, accompanied by music specially composed for the event. If you're looking for excitement until the wee hours, try the Cocoon Club of the godfather of techno, Sven Väth. Top acts of the international techno scene perform here on weekends. But even during the week, the Cocoon Club is the right place to be to dance the night away to ambitious sounds. It's time for some relaxation after so much excitement, and the railway is just the ticket. It will take you in comfort to the next FIFA World Cup 2006 host city. The image of Nuremberg as the city today is defined by the Kaiserburg towering over everything with its city wall and more than 80 towers. These are medieval reminders of the Frankish metropolis and its history spanning some 1,000 years. This was the seat of all Kaisers and kings of the Holy Roman Empire of German nations between 1050 and 1571. Its best-known citizen is artist Albrecht Dürer, who lived and worked in the Old City. Nuremberg offers a unique mixture of traditional and modern. Longtime natives and those attracted to the city more recently both value the extraordinary quality of life of this modern city of 500,000. The ice route from Nuremberg to München is ready just in time for the FIFA World Cup 2006, cutting travel time between the two cities to about an hour. As the cradle of the German railway, the first train travel between Nuremberg and Fürth in 1835, Nuremberg today is an important national and international railway hub. The city has done its best to get ready for the World Cup. With about 1,000 trains and 130,000 passengers daily, the Nuremberg main station is the second largest station in Bavaria. There's a city rail stop not far from the main train station. It will take you to the stadium in just 8 minutes. An additional new rail platform at the Frankenstadion stop ensures that 15,000 passengers can be transported within an hour. From here to the stadium by foot is just 3 minutes. Frankenstadion is considered a jewel among stadiums. It's an all-purpose facility that seats about 37,000 during the World Cup soccer. With its sunroof made of solar power cells, Nuremberg has one of the most environmentally friendly stadiums in Germany. Regular German Bundesliga games are not the only events staged here. International trade shows are also featured. Just next to the stadium lie the Nazi Party rally grounds, constructed between 1926 and 1928. For decades, the legacy of the Third Reich lay idle at the edge of the city. But interest of the local population to reassess German history was so strong that in 2001 the documentation center was dedicated. A permanent exhibit on 1,300 square meters, Fascination and Power, examines the causes, connections and consequences of the Hitler regime. Topics that concern Nuremberg directly, such as the race laws, are emphasized in the exhibit. Directly behind the Nazi Party rally grounds is the Volksfest Square, where games will be broadcast on a giant screen during the Soccer World Cup, a scene here for the Confederations Cup in 2005. The Kaiserburg, the symbol of Nuremberg, is one of the most important imperial palaces of the Middle Ages. After Kaiser Karl IV decreed in 1356 that every Kaiser must convene his first diet or parliament in Nuremberg, the Kaiserburg became the site of numerous imperial and court diets. The city's best-known citizen internationally is Albrecht Dürer, born in 1471. His home has been preserved and a museum was opened there in 1998. Numerous exhibits gave a vivid impression of the life and work of the painter, artist and engraver. The artist tells the story of his own life in self-portraits. He was the first to develop the self-portrait as an independent genre, a reflection of Renaissance concern with the awareness of individuality. The inner city offers a tour through the historic mile. At the main market stands the first Gothic hall church in Franconia. Kaiser Karl IV had his court chapel built there over a demolished synagogue in the 12th century. Just next to the church is the beautiful fountain, dating from the 14th century. 40 stone figures in 4 rows represent the world image of the Holy Roman Empire of German nations. The River Prignitz is the picturesque Renaissance center of the historic city. You can get to know it as you wander across medieval bridges. The Street of Human Rights, constructed in 1993 and consisting of 27 white pillars, is intended as a reminder to observe human rights worldwide. City Hall Square with St. Sebald Church. The original roasted bratwurst has been grilled on beechwood fires here since 1313. By tradition, the Bratwurst House has its own butcher shop, where the specialty is prepared fresh daily. The German Railway Museum attracts families especially. Visitors to the museum will experience history of railway up close and learn how it came to Germany. Fascinating exhibits and documents show how this new means of transportation changed people's lives. The pedagogical department of the museum offers something for all age groups. A young team of specialists invites you to share a trip of discovery through the museum. The center of Franconia is looking forward to greeting travelers from all around the world, as is the local railway team. Their high quality and excellent service will make your stay as pleasant as possible. Southwestern Germany is home to the Palatinate Forest, a biosphere reserve and UNESCO protected area. Kaiserslautern is a city of about 100,000 in the heart of Europe. Mass tourism is unknown here, but there's no lack of culture and nature. The city and region are a favorite destination for tourists traveling alone or people on short vacations who want to enjoy the magnificent landscape. Kaiserslautern is open to the world. Citizens from 126 countries give it an international flair. The main train station is the hub of local and long-distance transportation in the German state of Rhineland-Palatinate. About 16,000 passengers and more than 300 local and long-distance trains pass through here each day. The train station is the last stop of the Rhine-Neckar Rapid Rail line and connects directly to the Rhine-Neckar Triangle. This allows passengers from all over Germany and neighboring countries to reach the area quickly and easily by rail. The main train station of Kaiserslautern has been brought up to World Cup standard. Only a few minutes away from the city center on foot is a magnificent entry gate to the city. The highlight on the way from the main train station to the stadium is the sculpture 11 Friends. They represent a closely knit soccer team. It's a 10-minute walk to the stadium for soccer fans along Betzenberg Mountain, rich in tradition. Games will be played in Fritz-Walter Stadium, which fans call simply Betze, after their soccer mountain. Originally built in 1920, the stadium was renovated from the ground up for Soccer World Cup. Only soccer is played on this field, and the stadium is the only one to bear the name of a player. Fritz Walter, one of the legendary world champions of 1954, is not only a famous representative of Kaiserslautern, he also stands for the hopes of the generation that followed the war. Once it became certain that Kaiserslautern would be a site hosting the 2006 World Cup, the Fritz Walter Museum came about through a private initiative. The founders want the wonderful memories of Fritz Walter to live on and to preserve his idealism for the future. Kaiserslautern looks back on a long history. Visitors will find evidence of the past everywhere in the city center. The gate of the city is St. Martin's Square, with its cast iron fountain dating from the 19th century. Enjoying life and the pleasures it has to offer are characteristic for the people of Rhineland-Palatinate, so it should come as no surprise that guests to the city of Barbarossa would be spoiled with local specialties. Just next to the Stiftskirche, dating from the 13th century, is the Spinnrädel, or spinning wheel. This historic inn, dating to 1740, is the only preserved half-timber style house in the city. The regional specialties, stuffed pork belly, liver dumplings and potato sausage, are a must for visitors. And perhaps a glass of wine with that, as people here are especially proud of their local wines. The Kaiserbrunnen fountain at the Mainzer Tor equals a three-dimensional history book featuring Kaiser Friedrich Barbarossa and King Rudolf von Habsburg, the most important figures in the history of the city. A few remains of walls are today's only reminders of the magnificent imperial palace dating from the 12th century. Close by are the ruins of the 16th century castle of Johann Casimir, Count of Palatinate. In the anteroom to the living room of the hunter from Palatinate stands the legendary Kappenberger Barbarossa head, dating from 1160. Today the Count's former living room is used for official receptions. The Kaiserslautern Palatinate Gallery, the Pfalzgalerie, was constructed in 1874 in the Neo-Renaissance style. Paintings and sculptures from the 19th to the 21st centuries are presented. Nearby, the imposing sandstone edifice of the new Palatinate Theatre rises, lined with sculptures of Carrara marble. During construction, parts of the old city foundation were found, and remains of a village dating to the late Stone Age were exposed, evidence of a 6,000-year history of settlement in the city. If you'd just like to relax, why not try Monte Mare? It's a sports and leisure swimming pool with an adventure world for children and a sauna and wellness paradise for adults. With weaving and the Pfaff sewing machine factory, Kaiserslautern developed into the industrial location in Palatinate during the mid-19th century. Today, the former factory houses the Kammgarn Cultural Center, one of the best-known cultural centers in Rhineland-Palatinate. By day, the tallest building in the city is an ordinary city hall, but at night it changes to a high-rise party location. 21 is located on the 21st floor and offers a restaurant, bistro and bar. The Kaiserslautern railway station team will be doing their best during the World Cup to make guests from all over the world experience the service and hospitality they expect from the German railway. After all, the motto of the 2006 World Cup is something especially close to the people of Kaiserslautern: a time to make friends. The World Cup city of Stuttgart lies at the center of the German state of Baden-Württemberg, surrounded by vineyards in the Stuttgart Valley. With a population of about 600,000, it's the sixth largest city in Germany, the pulsing metropolis with a first-class cultural scene, attractive shopping and leisure activities, is one of the most important business and industrial centers in Germany. The main train station in Stuttgart, a protected monument, lies at the very heart of the city. The key element of the 82-hectare rail facility is the passenger station with its 17 platforms. About 300,000 travelers and visitors pass through here daily. The station also offers numerous shopping options, with over 40 stores that are open outside of regular business hours. The 100+ members of the German railway team here will do everything to ensure the Stuttgart main station is more than just a train station for the FIFA Soccer World Cup. From the main train station, it's just a short walk to Gottlieb Daimler Stadium. Soccer fans can reach the refurbished Gottlieb Daimler stop or the modernized Bad Cannstatt World Cup station in 7 minutes by City Rail. It's a short walk from either stop to the stadium. The Gottlieb Daimler Stadium is located in the Cannstatt-Wasen sports complex. The most striking feature of the stadium is the steel cable truss construction of the membrane roof overarching the entire spectator area. About 50,000 fans will experience the games live here. Just a few minutes by foot from Gottlieb Daimler Stadium is a monument to the stadium's namesake, the new Mercedes-Benz Museum. The new Mercedes-Benz World is taking shape on 60,000 square meters in front of the main gate of the Chrysler plant in Stuttgart. The facility will tell the history and future of automobile and how the brand became a legend. Visitors learn about the 120-year history of Mercedes-Benz from 2 perspectives. Back to the main train station, the gate to the city. Our tour starts here, along Königstraße, stretching more than a kilometer. It's where you'll find all the large department stores, upscale shopping passageways, boutiques and cafes. Königstraße is the main shopping street of the city. It combines shopping with the most important sights to see in Stuttgart: the Schiller Monument, Stiftskirche and the medieval City Hall. Stuttgart acquired a new symbol last year in the form of a serene, elegant edifice, the Stuttgart Art Museum. Bringing together the city's art collection into the striking new museum in the heart of the city center stands symbolically for the collection's coming of age in an era marked by strong international trends. The top floor houses a restaurant. Besides the excellent cuisine, it also offers a stunning view of the city. The Schlossplatz, Castle Square, will become the center of soccer madness during the World Cup. Several giant screens around the Jubiläumssäule will broadcast the games live to over 80,000 anticipated soccer fans. But Swabian composure still reigns around the Jubiläumssäule, Schlossplatz and the adjoining market, as it does in one of the most attractive market buildings in Germany. The building is a fine example of Jugendstil architecture from the beginning of the 20th century. The market's 3,000 square meters offer flowers, fish, vegetables and fruits fresh daily, as well as exotic fruits and spices. 3 restaurants cater to the visitor's culinary satisfaction. A few streets further is the Steffele, or Stuttgart Stairs. This wine cellar offers a large selection for friends of the more than 250 local wine specialties. You can sample Rieslings, Gewürztraminers or a full-bodied Lemberger. The neighboring restaurant features down-home cooking and a small collection of wine corkscrews. Here you can enjoy home-cooked Swabian specialties, Spätzle, potato noodles and legendary Maultaschen, dough pockets, invented by a monk who hid pieces of meat in a dough pocket for forbidden pleasures during fasts. If you want to stretch out your enjoyment through the evening, you can stay in the city center or visit the Bohnenviertel or Bean Quarter between Charlotten and Wilhelmstraße. The residential quarters from the 15th century are today painstakingly renovated with antique shops, cafes, restaurants and galleries. The name still refers today to poor Stuttgart dwellers who grew their own beans back then to be able to survive. Residents of the Bean Quarter were considered different and unique in Stuttgart. An attraction dating from this period is the Bell Tower, the last preserved tower of the medieval city wall. A section still waiting to be discovered. Visit Stuttgart, not just for the FIFA Soccer World Cup 2006. The German railway team will be pleased to assist you and hopes you have a pleasant trip. München, the capital city of Bavaria, has a heart for connoisseurs. The metropolis offers events for every taste, from beer festivals to culinary delights to soccer and art. People of München understand how to combine modern life, enjoyment, culture and technology with the Bavarian tradition. The München main train station, one of the largest stations in Germany, lies in the heart of the city. About 760 long distance and 1,000 city trains pass through the station daily. More than 350,000 people pass through this transportation hub every day. München is a starting point for direct routes to major European cities such as Paris, Amsterdam or Rome. The best option for soccer fans on their way to the stadium is public transportation. The trip takes about 22 minutes. City Rail takes you to Marienplatz, then the metro goes to the Fröttmanning stop. From there the München FIFA World Cup Stadium is 10 minutes away by foot. The arena is an extraordinary soccer stadium, one of the most beautiful in the world, with seats for 50,000 spectators during World Cup games. The outer facade consists of numerous transparent light panels. Computer controls can change the color of each element to red, white or blue. From the main train station you can go directly to Karlsplatz, created in 1771 by Prince Karl Theodor. Today it marks the beginning of the pedestrian zone, which leads to the symbol of München, the Frauenkirche, the Church of Our Lady. Only a few meters away, on Marienplatz, stands the neo-Gothic City Hall, dating to 1906, which still houses the mayor's office today. Germany's largest and most famous Glockenspiel plays 3 times daily here. It consists of 32 life-size copper figurines and 43 bells, driven by precision technology under monument protection. The original waltzes of 1908 are still heard today. The group of figurines is reminiscent of the marriage of Duke Wilhelm V to Renata of Lothringen in 1568. Just next to City Hall Square is the world-famous food market, the Viktualienmarkt. For the people of München, it's more than just a market, it's also their well-stocked parlor. The symbol of the market, visible from afar, is the maypole. There's something for everyone's taste at the Viktualienmarkt. You'll find traditional local specialties here, as well as international delicacies. After decades of renovation, the historic Schrannenhalle, the grain market, has now reopened close by. Games will be broadcast on a giant screen in the main hall during the World Cup. The grain market offers an entertaining mix of crafts and cabaret. Visitors can choose between different tastes and lifestyles. The construction of the Pinakothek der Moderne has given the people of München the chance of a lifetime, bringing together so many different collections under one roof. Modern art, graphics, design and architecture are all on display in one location. And all that in such a prominent neighborhood as the Old Pinakothek, one of the most important art galleries in the world. The famous Rubens Room draws an enthusiastic international public. The German Museum is one of the largest museums of technology in the world. About 28,000 items explain the mysteries of science and technology. For example, here, Foucault's pendulum. Visitors will understand connections that usually remain hidden in everyday life. The glass workshop in the BMW Museum, where vintage cars are restored and on display, is sure to attract those interested in automobiles and technology. Some of the most interesting models from the history of the Bavarian Motor Works are on display, including the legendary Isetta of 1957 and the latest Formula One racing cars. The glass workshop is located on the former Olympic grounds of 1972, directly under the München TV Tower. This will be the central starting location for all soccer fans for the FIFA World Cup. The games are a time to make friends, and 20,000 fans will be able to experience that as they watch the games live and free on a giant screen. Olympic Park will be open from 1 till 11 p.m. And if you're still ready for more, you should visit the most famous pub in the world, the Hofbräuhaus. In the Schwemme, the main hall, everyone's all decked out. Authentic German dancing, costumes and alphorns with music and Bavarian dancing provide entertainment for a flair of folklore. Earlier, the house beer was brewed in the central part of the house. Today there's room for as many as 1,300 guests seated under the cross vaults. And if that's all a bit too much for you, München also offers other summer entertainment rich in Bavarian cultural traditions with the classic at Odeon Square. The cultural highlight is one of the city's largest open-air events with 16,000 visitors. High-quality orchestras, moderate prices and the extraordinary settings all contribute to the success of these evenings. After an exciting evening, the train takes you safely and comfortably back home, where you can dream of the next excursion.
Meine Damen und Herren, bitte Vorsicht am Gleis 7.
The German railway has more than 200,000 employees, and we're responsible for its program.
The railway is its own world. Bahn TV is television on rails. Bahn TV has everything you need to know about the company, about transportation and environmental politics.
The railway serves 4.6 million customers every day. We have the information you need.
The most beautiful areas of Germany, major European cities, will show you how you can arrive at your destination comfortably and affordably. Bahn TV, reporting on research and technology for millions of rail fans. High-speed travel, tilting technology and logistics, new ideas and the infrastructure of the future.
For 170 years, the railway has touched all levels of society and all ages. We have the pictures.
The railway and its future, the train station as the center of cities, pictures that show how the world has become mobile.
Rail TV has been reaching 4.7 million people daily since 2001 via satellite and cable.
We provide information about fitness and health for the workplace, at home or on trips.
Tune in. We broadcast for you around the clock, 24 hours a day.
Bitte steigen Sie ein. Vorsicht an den Türen und bei der Abfahrt des Zuges.